Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Regenerative Business Podcast. I am here with a special guest who I invited on to talk about embodied design and being the unicorn for your clients. Now, this is an awesome episode if you are in your business and you have either never worked with a designer or you have, and it like something either feels like jeans that are too tight or it like never actually landed. So we're going to get into practical things that you can do, and by practical, witchy, magical, intuitive things that are hyper practical. This is also great if you're making a pivot in your business or you just have this sense that you're moving into the next level in your business as a CEO, as a leader of the revolution that you're meant to actually lead on this planet. And you feel like your branding, your design, how you're showing up online, which is essentially what branding is. So, how you're showing up online is one step behind, or it's not actually pulling you into the future. Because as we'll talk about today, branding can actually be this manifestation practice to take you to the next level of your business and success faster. I'm here with Isabel. Say hi, Isabel.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. Isabel Bagsik is a soulful brand designer and creative wellness guide with 10 plus years experience designing for high profile businesses and leaders. She helps heart led healers, entrepreneurs, visionaries, and revolutionary leaders like you to launch your innovative projects and get paid for your culture shifting creative gifts. I am so excited you're here, Isabel.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So, the reason why I invited Isabel on is because she's going wild on threads, and I'm not a threads person, but you've been like reposting them on
Yeah.
Instagram. And it was, you shared a DM from a client who was essentially like, wow, you are exactly who I didn't even know to dream of as a designer. And I was like, oof, she is being the unicorn for her client. And we need to talk about this on the podcast. So can you tell a little bit about the
Ooh.
situation?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm glad that repurposing content has been great. I was like, what? It started off with what's the easiest way to do this? And I'm glad that it's resonating. And so I loved that connection, receiving that message. And it really affirmed how I'm showing up in my work to continue showing these different aspects of me, my identity, my culture, and all of these things. And what she had messaged was, oh, my friend recommended you because she was looking for a designer who ideally understood ancestral work, who understood intuitive work, who could be aware and work with her lineage that she wants to weave into her new brand. And it just so happened that we both shared the same cultural background, being from the Philippines. Yeah, and someone who can do the branding. And so that was just such a dream to hear from her words in her voice memo that she was like, "Oh, you're the person I was looking for." And like that, what a dream to hear. And now we're officially going to be working together. And so I think that is just affirmation to, and for those listening, to continue being courageous to share all these parts of you, even if it may seem irrelevant or do people even care about this? People want to know. Yeah.
And I've had this experience so many times when I was still doing done for you services for clients where I led forward with, I'm into astrology, I'm full women team, most of us are queer, and leading with that to have this connection of, yeah, we're really good at marketing. Yeah, we will get you results. And also, we're not going to go the bro marketing way. And
Yes.
also, we're going to be using all of our magical gifts with this on our end. So it's not just on you.
Mhm.
And so, yes, permission slip for everyone that you can actually become the manifestations of your clients. You can actually become who your clients are dreaming of or don't even know to dream of by being courageous.
Mhm. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Hey, 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 just popping in here to remind you that this month on the Regenerative Business Podcast, we're doing a fun little challenge in which you get to win prizes. So TLDR, take a screenshot of the episode, share it on Instagram stories, tag me at The Dirty Alchemy, and you enter to win anything from the Dirty Alchemy shop. That can be my ebook, audiobook, that can be any of our self-study courses, including Evergreen Ecosystems, which sells for $999, or Regenerative Copywriting Studio, or a Somatic Branding Masterclass. There's so many good ones on there. And every time you share about the Regenerative Business podcast in September 2024 and tag me at The Dirty Alchemy counts as an entry, meaning you can enter as many times as you like, which increases your chances to win. Every week in September, I'm announcing a winner. That means we have 4 different winners in September. So just right now, go ahead, take a screenshot and go share that to your stories. Now, back to the episode. I love that too. It's something that the first time I heard someone say that, I was like, wow, that is the most empowering visual I could ever have. Because
Mhm.
a lot of us who are into magical stuff, we are working to manifest dream clients. But what if you are the manifestation of the people who are going to
Right.
hire you?
Yes. It's just sends chills and tingles.
So theme of today for sure is the courage to be visible, right? And that's
Mhm.
really what a lot of branding is, or what branding can be. And I wanted to talk about embodied design. I was wondering if you could define what that actually is for you.
Yes. Okay. So there's so many ways to go about embodied design. And for me, what I really like thinking about that is really connecting with your intuition to provide the clarity around how you want to authentically represent yourself through the visual digital realm or visual world. And so, how can that be felt even through the screen so deeply by other people on first glance in just a few seconds of your branding, whether it's your website or social media or brand photo shoots? How deeply your values, the work that you're here to do, the legacy you're here to leave behind can be seen and felt so quickly and immediately told so in your branding. Like how they say pictures worth 1,000 words, that can be done through branding. And so that's what I like to think about embodied design of, is your authentic self, your brand essence truly represented in your branding? And do you feel that? Do you feel confident? Do you feel the sense of conviction in your work being represented here?
Love it. And little nuance, because you will hear in the online space, you don't need a website to be successful. You do not need branding to be successful. You don't need to have photo shoots to be successful. And we both 100% agree with that. And also,
Mhm.
it does make things easier.
Yes. Yes. I love the nuanced conversation here because, funny enough, I am a brand designer. I have a background in design. I'm selling design services, but my design services at this moment of this recorded conversation is on a Google Doc. And I've been landing clients that are dream clients. And of course, I have other aspects of my branding that live elsewhere and are seen elsewhere. But it is possible when you do get that clarity in your branding other ways. It could be in your brand voice, your messaging, or all these other components of what a brand is. And it doesn't have to be just a pretty website. And I don't think it should be that start. A lot of people think logos are the first thing that they need, but really that's the very last thing you need. I don't even have a symbol for my logo. It's just my brand font that says my brand name. So, can you get clear on what you're actually here to do? And that's what people want to be connected with and are interested.
I love that. Something I like to think of with branding is like, how is it this frequency that you can put out? With what you were saying with a picture's worth 1,000 words, is how can it actually encapsulate a frequency so when they see it, it just clicks in? Because if you're just
Mhm.
reading words, of course, we're making pictures in our heads, but what if those words were supported by the visual elements that really solidify exactly how you want people to feel and how you want people to think when they are associating with you and your business?
Yes, exactly. And that kind of points back to what you were saying of how branding can make things easier,
Yeah.
where maybe you don't necessarily need it 100% of the time, but how can it do a lot of the legwork in trying to portray who you're trying to connect with, what visual or like mission you're here to do? all of that. So yes, I agree. It could be all tied together in that way.
Mhm. And so before we started recording, you had dropped a phrase that I'm like dying to talk about. Because I 100% believe that branding helps you step into a bigger identity. And I definitely want to have that conversation. But when I mentioned that to you, you were
Mm.
like, oh, yeah, brand archetype as glamour magic. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I didn't want to ask then, but I want to know now.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been loving the conversations just happening in my circles around this. So clearly this is something that people are curious about.
You
And
probably need to put out a training called glamour magic.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's adding to my growing list of projects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tune in for September. Isabel's new training.
Yes. Okay. So the idea around glamour magic that I've learned from other mentors and other spiritual practitioners is just from what I've learned, and I'm sure there's so much more to this. So I would definitely do more research around it. But from my understanding, it's on how one can utilize different aspects to embody something or manifest something through how they're visually presented, whether it's through makeup or how they do your hair or the clothes that you wear, even the fragrances and the way that I've interpreted that practice and realized that I've actually been doing that for most of my life is where when you can put on this costume, you can start to really viscerally, physically feel the thing, the person, the identity that you want to step into that you haven't yet, if that's like the goal of working with glamour magic. And so when I was wanting to feel more confident, for example, in high school and college, I was so inspired by the fashion blogs that I was voraciously reading every single day after school and dressing a little more uncomfortably out of my comfort zone, but it was to emulate these fashion bloggers that I loved who were experimental with their clothes. And a more recent example is, oh, what if you want to embody the witchy CEO kind of archetype, for one example, but you still don't feel confident in claiming that identity yet, but you know that it's within you and you have the background and experience, then maybe it's like how you dress up or what fragrances would this brand archetype be? How would they move in the world? It could really shift how your posture is, the
Mhm.
tone of your voice. It's really interesting. And I think of it at one of my best friends is an actor. And so I think of it too in that way of letting yourself play with these kind of different archetypes with how you're dressing up or how your physicality changes, and that can affect your confidence. And with your confidence, that affects how much you talk about your work, your medicine, your gifts, and that gets super magnetic and really draws people in. Oh, who is that? What are they here to say? So yeah, I could keep going. Let me know. I'm gonna stop here.
I'm also I think the personal identity work with on that side of it is so potent, but it almost seems like there's also a way that branding in and of itself, not just on you, but on your entire business is glamour
Hmm.
magic.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Love this reminder. Let me bring it back to that.
No,
And
I want to talk about them both,
yeah.
but I want to hear what
Yeah.
you say.
Yes. Okay. So I've been doing market research calls and this conversation around they're currently presenting themselves in one particular way, but they know that there are all these other things too, that they have these other identities that they want to present, but they don't know how to claim it or say it or share that. And it's been making me think about brand archetypes and how you can embody that through visual branding and all these other aspects of what branding is. And so the way that could be done through the lens of glamour magic or other things like that is how can you create this brand? How can you, let's say it's your website and your social media, you can have this newfound refreshed confidence and excitement around how you talk about your work. You don't feel embarrassed of reaching out to people or pitching to people or talking about your work because you feel proud and aligned and congruent with how you're being represented, how you're representing your gifts through this really strong brand. And so, for example, when I was starting to build out my business, I had a design background and I've been designing for high profile clients and social media content. And so, from the very beginning, I was taking my content creation seriously and how I was creating my feed, not just the content and the words, but how I was curating my branding, the way that it gets shared, the content and the style. And because of that, I was creating a body of work that drew in these dream mentors and people messaging me and reaching out to say that they were drawn in to not just the aesthetic, but what I had to say, how I was being portrayed in this way. And it stood out because I had a clear vision for how I was putting out my work, preparing for myself to be seen in that way. So that's one example of it actually working to be seen and be treated in the way that you want to, or embody and connect with the people that you want to. And I've also talked about it in the way of dressing for the job that you want. So, who do you want to show? How do you want to be? How do you want to show up in this world? Who are the people that you dream of creating with, to serve and support, to partner up with? And how does that person move in this world? How do you create content around that? What would they do? How would they speak? And so it like blends into everything else.
So good. I've also had a lot of course, as visual people, we both have personal experience with branding changing our lives. When I was earlier on in business and I was having the identity shift from I'm a freelancer to I'm a business owner,
Mhm.
branding a website myself was the thing that really made it where I like, oh, I'm a business owner. And this is a thing. Not that I ever even shared the website with anyone, but there was the process in and of itself was transformative. And then more recently, like in the last 12 months, the identity shift from business owner to revolutionary leader, it's the branding had to go with
Mm.
it. That was the 3D externalizing what was happening inside, and I needed it to show up in front of me in the business, and that really is something with, like, occult magic where it's not just about, like, law of attraction, feeling how you wanna feel, it's,
Mhm.
"No, I'm actually doing spell work with physical objects," and to externalize the transformation and have a metaphor of the transformation I wanna have, and that's exactly what branding can be for people, where we're infusing other things with the transformation we're experiencing and want to witness outside of us. Where you were saying that it has legs of its own or like it gives its own legs, like this your branding is this externalized energy, so you are doing less work. If someone hits your Instagram
Mhm.
profile
Yes,
and your website and it's branded in an elevated way that represents where you're going as a business, not just where you currently are or where you were 12 months ago, but where you're going with the movement that you're leading, it makes it so you don't have to do as much work. The branding is
exactly.
working for you.
Yes. Yes. I love this. I love that you brought this up, and it was really, like, tying to what we were talking about earlier in this call of how easy things can be
Mhm,
once you land on such a congruent, aligned, powerful brand in the way that you want to step into, as you're saying, into that identity or the work that you wanna step into, because immediately it creates a sense of trust and safety with people who are prospective clients or people who want to connect with you, especially if it's cohesive across all platforms. Instead of, I see so many incredible leaders and healers who have such amazing work, but their branding isn't matching the level of the profound work that they are already doing.
mhm.
And so, really, like branding can really help move that or elevate that to be so clear so quickly so that you don't have to spend so much time creating content every single day, for example, because people already trust you and can see that already. And it's already laid out very clearly on your website or social media or wherever you're putting that work.
Yeah, so good. So you when we were chatting before the call, you had mentioned you have some different practices that you do with people in your sessions and your VIP days and your actual packages. And you have one you wanna share with everyone today. And I think let's first talk about why are creative rituals around branding a powerful piece of the process that most branding agencies don't do. And then you can share something that people can do today.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. It was actually a journey of talking about what we were mentioning earlier of bringing our full selves into our work and being courageous and showing our full selves to be the unicorn or the dream of our dream clients. And the more that I talked about these things that I was hiding away, these rituals and spiritual practices, or the more that I talked about them, the more that it increased this momentum that I'm seeing in my own content and the people who are interested in working together. And it makes things so easy. Like, I've been in traditional agencies and studios, and of course, there's space for just strategy and the typical routine and processes of the design process. But in the work that I'm doing now, with creative rituals, it's so fun.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be these long questionnaires that you do, though I do have that. I have a form of that. And that is important, but it also adds a sense of effortlessness, ease, deeper insight because it's coming so deep from the client intuitively, and it can help answer any sticky questions, like what you were saying at the beginning of how sometimes working with a designer might feel like jeans are too tight, not the right fit, not clear. And it's important for me to not project my ideas of how they should appear, but
Yeah.
for me to really pull out and excavate and reveal what is already within them. And because they don't have a design background, like how can I find the right language or the words to reveal that for both of us and how I can help bring that out through the lens of design. And so some of the creative rituals, what I think is really exciting is this blend of intuition with strategy. I'm a Capricorn moon and rising, so I'm all about strategy and timelines and everything. But I also
What's
love
your
them.
sun? What's your sun?
I'm a Gemini.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, I love blending both. I think both has really propelled my work in such a different way that really feels alive for me, especially in this season of being able to fully show up. And so some of the things that I've done with clients in one of our calls in my soulful brand design packages is we start off with an opening meditation where I guide them through connecting with the essence of their brand. And it's not even just on what are your brand colors, brand fonts. It's actually much deeper than that. I want to know what you're seeing, what like emotions or textures you're feeling. Who do you see in the room with you who end up being your dream clients and collaborators? And all these other questions to really get this felt sense, this deep knowing of what it is you're here to say that paints this more lush picture of what your brand is instead of going straight to Pinterest for creating a mood board just on pictures that you like because it looks nice. And so that's one of the practices that has been so profound and just starting up that conversation. And then we get into strategy and creative direction informed by that practice. And I love closing with an oracle card reading to thread those conversations together for an overall message to synthesize the things that we've been discussing and what to keep in mind moving forward. And so those are some of the practices that we do. There are others, one that I'll be inviting you all into trying out today. But again, like for one example, one client, we were going through her logo and she was mentioning how she's worked with other brand designers, but never really clearly landed on something that truly represented who she is, plus who she's here to serve.
Mm.
And I was asking these questions to really clarify what it is. And I knew, okay, let's do this practice, did the meditation, and did the practice that I'll be inviting you into on this call. And immediately she had this clear idea around what it was. And the more that we talked, the more we were going through different visual references to get clear on the symbol of her logo. I had this intuitive vision of what it could be. And I mentioned, wait, what about this? And she said, oh my gosh, that's it. That's exactly. She was so excited. She was explaining like why that exactly represented who she is and so excited about how that will be the symbol that truly represents what she wants to, who she wants to call in and who she is as a this incredible leader and healer. And I thought that was amazing for both of us to experience this intuitive practice that helped inspire the clarity around her branding. That's what the work that I've been doing around creative rituals and intuitive work.
So good. Oh, I can't wait. I'm sure even a few months from now, you're going to have so many more stories around this.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So, what are we doing? What are we invited to do today or this week?
Yeah. So for those listening, if you had literally just 5 minutes, which is like less than 2 long TikToks, you can, or like you're microwaving, like defrosting something faster than a in and out drive through. You can do this. I know you can. So if you have a piece of paper, and it's important to have a physical piece of paper and something to write with, be a pen, marker, whatever, and so, what I like to invite folks into is this non dominant hand practice. And I love using this for different prompts and different practices. And it's been the signature activity that I bring in. And what it is, it's drawn from an art therapy practice where so your dominant hand is the hand that you write with every day. So, for me, I write with my right hand. So, my non dominant hand would be my left. I
Mhm.
don't use that to write and such. So, with this, you'd use your regular writing hand to write out the prompt that I'll share on the piece of paper. And then you would respond to that prompt right underneath on the same piece of paper with your non dominant hand. And you'd keep writing. You can put a timer on for even the length of one song, could be 3 to 5 minutes. You just keep writing. Don't overthink it. You could keep writing the same word. You can write, I don't know, and just keep writing. And once the timer is up, get curious and get observant to see what shows up on the page. And a lot of the time, people have this discomfort with doing that because perfectionism comes up because you're using your other hand that you're not normally writing with, unless you're ambidextrous. That's a different story. But if you're doing this, oftentimes the discomfort shows up through perfectionism because it doesn't look right. You're like trying to, and all these things come up, and oftentimes are the comments that I hear. And also, what's really magical is that once you look at the paper, it looks like your younger self, a child, drew it or wrote it because it's messy. It's outside the lines. It's maybe a little bigger than what you normally write. And it's connecting with this non logical, this intuitive side of your brain within you to give you that wisdom that's already there, clarity and insights that's already there. And it's a matter of now unlocking that, and this is just one of those practices that I've seen time and time again that quickly and immediately brings forth that clarity. And so, all that said, with the context of how that practice goes, what that prompt that I'd love to invite you into is, what does the essence of my brand need to tell me today? Could be as simple as that.
So,
Get
you guys,
observant.
pause right now. Pause it right now
Oh.
and put on a 5-minute timer.
Yes, I love this. Yeah. Yeah. So, you're probably back after you pause. And so I hope you did. I hope you paused. If you didn't, pause it right now. But when you've come back, now that you're back, get observant to see what comes through.
Mhm.
And after that, you can always tweak and change the prompt to help answer any other questions that you have around branding. Is it around the visuals? Is it on the website? Is it the photo shoot? You can get even more granular with these prompts. And you can do this as a practice if you just want like a quick moment of clarity. Maybe you're stewing on this for hours and you're like researching and you're on Chat GPT and it's not giving you the right answer. Why don't you like go back to yourself? You have the answer. It's just a matter of quieting down the noise and remembering that you have that wisdom.
Mhm. So good. And if you're listening and you're answering the question in your head, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
That's using your dominant hand answer.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Isabel. This has been such a treat to have you on, and it's been just so fun to watch your journey and see you really shining on the internet. And I'd love Do you have any final messages you have for everyone here?
Oh, yeah. Once again, this was so lovely. So thank you for having me on. And what is a final message? I feel like it's what's coming up is around the courage to be visible. It's around that topic. Oftentimes, it may feel unsafe to show up publicly,
Mm.
especially if you've grown up within systems of oppression or like faced had these histories of being silenced or all of these other experiences, whether generationally or for yourself. It can feel scary. It can feel dangerous to do. So, how can you little by little find moments of practicing whatever that is and showing up? Is it writing an Instagram post once a week? Or is it talking on your Instagram stories? Or is it putting a newsletter? Or is it sharing with a friend what you're up to? What are those bite sized actions that are edgy, but reminding your brain that it is actually safe, that nothing dangerous, nothing harmful will happen to you if you do this one action? Can you do that little by little so that your body feels a sense of safety and familiarity with that action so that you can continue to eventually find that confidence to share and show up in your brand and get that clarity and get into that glamour magic and embody who you truly want to be. So that's what I felt called to share.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys, every little tiny step like this counts. We want to say, oh, if we don't do the big thing, then it doesn't count, but it 100% counts. Okay, Isabel, how can people work with you? And if they want to take
Yes.
a next step, whether it's just like downloading a freebie or they're like, yes, I'm ready for a brand redesign.
Yeah. Thank you. Once again, I'm Isabel Bagsik. I am a software brand designer and creative director for revolutionary leaders and healers. And you can find me at Unconventional Bliss on Instagram or unconventionalbliss.com is my website. And I'd love to invite anyone listening to my free 3-day email training sequence. It's called the Intuitive Brand Refresh. So if you're curious about what these creative rituals are, will get each delivered straight to your inbox, straight to your email, and get to play with what these creative rituals are to elevate your online branding and allure your soul clients and community. And if you're ready to take it a step further, I'm available. I'd be excited to work with you to be your creative partner to bring your wisdom, your medicine to life. So, again, feel free to slide into my DMs at Unconventional Bliss. I'd be so excited to say hello.
So good. And for everyone still here with us, we really appreciate you. We really need you to be stepping into this next step of business. Sometimes, like we were talking about before with the manifesting clients, what we want internally as the leader of our businesses and leaders of the movements we're here, like we can feel like what we want is individualistic, but it's
Mm.
not. It's really not. You actually stepping into the next level is what's needed, and people are calling for you to do that. So, really invite you to take the next step. Go follow Unconventional Bliss on Instagram, and I'll see you next week on the podcast. Bye, everyone.